If there are any individuals who are in their late teens, early 20s, looking to identify their unique strengths, what would be some of the tips that you'd like to share to help them figure that out?
Your talent is something that you do really well. If you do it really well, you enjoy it, you like it. And if you like it, you want to do more of it.
Let's say someone who enjoys farming, being empathy, and how that empathy can then also translate so well as a day trader, because then you empathize with the people, the clients you're working with, because it's their money.
Look online on YouTube. There are people who are meditating, recording themselves. 3-hour meditation, the person just records themselves. What is happening? The person is sitting in front of the camera, no action, nothing. And they get paid for that. Like 50 years ago, only one person in a household needed to have a job, to have a house, family, children. Right now, even 2 jobs in a household is not enough, meaning that each adult is expected to have more than one income. This is for millennials. All the younger generations will have to hustle even more.
Welcome everybody. Today we are going to dive into insightful territory with a very special guest, Marina Karanueskaya. Marina is a certified life purpose coach and a catalyst for holistic success. Marina's expertise is in unlocking human potential, and she offers customized and tailored coaching to help us find out careers that align with our own life's purpose. So get ready for an episode full of inspiration, wisdom, actionable insights. And without any further ado, let's dive in.
Hi, Marina. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Ina. Hello. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
You are a life coach. You are a career coach. You are someone who helps people find meaning in their lives, right? And today's conversation for me is really important because being in higher education and an educator myself for the last 11, 12 years now, I work very closely with a lot of students. So I'm talking about students in their late teens and even, early stage professionals, people who've just done their masters and are looking to start off in their careers. Now, I know that we all need to seek our strengths. I understand that all of us are unique individuals. We all are blessed with unlimited potential. That's something that you talk a lot about as well. Now, I often find it very hard to explain this concept to younger generation that they too have strengths, they too have potential, they too have abilities that are so unique to them. And that is something that they need to work on to find out more. A lot of the times, the challenge is that they don't want to take the time to go through that process, right? And I want to tell them that, understanding the self is really the main part of starting their life out, right? And it's a great investment in terms of time and energy. So if there are any individuals who are in their late teens, early 20s even, who are looking to identify their unique strengths or their talents, and they're struggling to find what those are, what would be some of the tips or the strategies that you'd like to share to help them figure that out?
Yeah, thank you for this question, Ina. It's amazing that you are coming with this question in the area of education for younger people. And I can't emphasize enough how happy I am that education is interested as an industry in this question, because being a coach, especially a career coach, I work primarily with adults. I work with people in their late 30s and their early 40s, because statistically speaking, this is the time when people actually start asking these questions that you just raised, questions about people's real strengths, their potential. How can I put myself in the correct place in the world? How can I bring the most of myself to the world? And also, as a reverse of that, how can I get the most satisfaction and fulfillment from what I'm doing? And so far, the trend is that these questions are mostly asked by adults, and young people are not that much interested in that. And the reason for this is actually very simple. They didn't have enough time and experience to understand that these are very important questions. And further down the line in their life, in their career, the question of fulfillment and job satisfaction is going to come sooner or later. But when they're just starting, 18, 20, even 25-year-old, all they want is just to experience the world. They just want to find a job and just put all their energy into use, right? So I'm very happy that right now we actually start asking these questions much earlier. So we start avoiding as early as possible the misdirected or misguided careers, as it were. Because a lot of people figure out in their mid-30s, mid-40s that they were doing something that they actually are not passionate about, and maybe something that they don't even feel that they're doing that well. They just chose something that was either advised to them, or they chose a career line based on their parents' preferences. Maybe it was like the family tradition to go into that space, or as it actually happening even more often right now, they were going for status and money, because these are the values in our society that are dictating people their choice quite a lot. Therefore, for young people, it's very hard to actually understand the importance of these questions early on. So what do I advise younger people to do if they already question this very early on, which I'm very happy to see that education system helps them to come across these questions. And the answer to this is very simple, actually. And ironically, younger people have a big advantage in answering these questions faster and more correct. So, as you said, and I fully support that, and the research supports that as well, every one of us has a unique combination of talents or potential or strength. And this unique combination of strengths makes us predisposed to certain careers, meaning that we will be successful in certain jobs and careers by default because we are already good at something. And when you are younger, you are much closer to your childhood than when you're older. And why childhood is so important? Because in childhood, we are the closest to ourselves as we possibly can be. Only with age, we start taking on a lot of conditions from the society, from the family, from parental figures, from other authorities that we find around ourselves. And we start having a little bit of a distorted perception of what is the correct path in life is, right? Because we start being affected by so many voices, narratives that we hear around us. And when we are children, we actually do what we do the best. We just live. We experience the world through the modalities that are expressed in us the most. So what young people should do is to remember their early childhood, what they were interested in, what were their interests, what were their hobbies, what were they doing by default, by themselves, without being asked. And sometimes people can think that their early predispositions are not what they are meant to be used in a career. For example, some people say, yeah, as a child, I was very playful. I didn't want to work. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to hang out with friends and play games. And people think that cannot be part of a career. And I say, well, that's actually not quite right. Because if you were very playful, very outgoing child, very social child, it means that your career has to be related to communication, because communication is the modality that is very developed in you from an early age. So you can be working, for example, in marketing. If it's business, you can work in social media right now. You can develop a career as a journalist, as a stand-up comedian. Like, there's so many ways to utilize this gift of being outgoing, right? So the business, the engineering, the healthcare, these are not the only careers that are available these days. So I think we should encourage young people to look much broader at what skills they actually possess, because they can utilize many, many more skills than they think they can.
Fabulous. That's such a fresh approach to looking at your childhood. Often I would hear people talk about their childhood and, things that they really enjoy doing. And it could be just making people laugh, or it could be maybe dancing, or it could be, like you said, just, being someone who likes to, who's more outgoing, and how you can kind of just connect that personality trait that comes so easy to you because it is pretty much your unique characteristic to work into something like communication, someone who's funny, looking at stand-up comedy. And now, as you said, the options are unlimited, that genuinely there is something out there for every kind of personality, every kind of trait that is, that a young child may have. And so it's just really about understanding that there is definitely applicability of each of that in this big, beautiful world of ours where, honestly, options are so many now. So it's a great time to be alive. And thanks for highlighting that. I think the part about, not ignoring your early childhood, what we can learn from there is very impactful. So thanks for sharing that. Now, let's say a student is, we're still in college. Let's just say they are like, okay, I like that fact. I'm still not too far away from my childhood days, and I still have things that I can recall and work on this. Now, you also talk a lot about, Marina, you talk a lot about taking control in one's life. And I really like that because at the end of the day, we control our lives. We may think that there are things outside of our control um, that may be at play, right? That maybe it is the job that I want, will they want me? Or it could be like, oh, but the economy is down. Oh, but there aren't any jobs. But like, there's so many things we often say that, are what are the deciding factors. But truly, I feel that at the end of the day, we control our own destiny. We are responsible for our own life. So I love that that's one of the connecting points, for me when I had seen and read about your work last year. Now, if a student is looking to take responsibility of their own life, they're ready to do that, then how is this possible when it is when there's so many challenges, when there are so many uncertainty or so much uncertainty, in our environments right now? Even for now, we can talk about inflation, we can talk about lack of job opportunities, there are layoffs, there's so many things, right? Challenges. And you mentioned that, sometimes it is also very hard for kids to think that there is something that they could do in their careers which does not kind of directly relate to what their parents want for them. So there can be all kinds of challenges thrown at them. So what sort of practical steps can young adults take to take control of their life?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. And as you said, that's one of the main points in my work as well, this responsibility that we have and that we should actually take for everything that happens in our life. And of course, the logical approach to this is that, yes, of course, I cannot control the market. I cannot control what professions are in demand. I cannot control the technology. So I feel like I'm a subject and I'm responding to the market, right? However, still, I do believe that even though I don't have control on the external circumstances, I have a control how I choose my response to those circumstances. So for young people, what is very important, and that is the difference in coaching of young people and adults, is that adults usually, when they're looking to change their career or to find a more fulfilling, better career or more successful career, especially more financially successful career, for them, it's very important to understand what they're doing. Like they have to be very specific. And the coaching are usually based on their previous experience. So we analyze previous experience and we build up on that. Now, young people do not have previous experience, previous work experience. And sometimes they base their choice basically on two factors, like maybe three, but two are main distinction. First distinction is what they did at school. So they think, okay, I'm good at math, I'm good at sciences, I'm going to go and study sciences and I'm going to be an engineer or scientist or, I don't know, biologist, chemist. Or they base their choice on what their parents are telling them. And that is usually based on market trends. So basically two categories. They're all limited experience at school and what the authority figures are telling them. And sometimes neither of those can actually tell what the person can be successful at, because school has a very limited approach to developing our skills, especially when it comes to social skills, or so to say, soft skills. Schools are designed to give us hard skills, but not every person is talented at hard skills necessarily. Some people are very talented at soft skills. Therefore, they do not get enough exposure in school to understand that they're good at that. And they usually choose a career that is going to be based on hard skills anyway. So taking all of that in mind, I still want to say that all of this is a secondary worry, so to say. The first thing that young people need to think about is that in the young age, it's not that much important what you're doing, but why you are doing that. I really want to ask them the reason. Why do I want to have this career or that career? Because it comes from within me, because I feel connected to that, because I feel curiosity. I always tell people during the coaching session, follow your curiosity. That is the closest you can get to your intuition, to the right answers for you. Follow where you're curious about something. That is always very, very important for you to take notice of. So for young people, I'm not worried that they're going to take a wrong, quote unquote, career in the beginning, because in the very young age, all you need is experience and you need to develop basic skills, both soft and hard, right? So I don't care if you go to work in a business, even though you are a creative person, you're still going to learn skills that you will need as a creative person further down the line. For example, for me, I studied law. My first education was in law. And now I'm working as a career coach. Might seem to be a completely useless waste of time. But trust me, knowing legal things is very helpful when you are self-employed, when you're working for yourself. It helps you to pay taxes correctly, help you to set up your business correctly, all of that stuff. So young people should not pay attention too much what jobs they take in the beginning. Just take everything, but that responds to your curiosity. Why? Why are you taking that job? Because I feel interested in that. I feel curious about that. If young people take a job because they need money, because that's one of the main questions. When you're young, you need money. I understand that. I respect that. We all were there, especially when we start separating from the family, or if we anyway felt that this is an important reason for us. Fine, totally fine by me. Find a job that gives you some money. But keep in mind that it has to be something that you're curious about, because curiosity will always lead you to the correct identification of your true talents, because your talents are always related to something you're interested in. Your talents are never going to be related to something you have zero interest in. And it's very easy to understand logically, because your talent is something that you do really well. If you do it really well, you enjoy it, you like it. And if you like it, you want to do more of it. So you're curious about it. If you do something really well, you cannot do something that you are not interested about, because if you do it well, you want to do more of it because it works. Curiosity is always a sign that you might have a talent there. So young people should choose jobs according to their criteria, given money, given experience, maybe even what their parents want them to do, but only if they're curious about it, only if they're interested in the subject one way or the other.
I love that. Follow your curiosity. Now, while I understand this, and I think you did a great job to explain how it is that, one can find their talents through the route of finding their curiosity, is there an example perhaps that you might want to give so that it just breaks it down a little bit better for the young kids watching this?
Yes, for sure. There's billions of examples, obviously, but let's take an example of one of my latest clients. So the person had an obvious potential of being very analytical, very systematic, very good in organizing processes, very good at organizing the knowledge. So it could be a profile of so many characteristics. Could be a profile of a scientist, could be a profile of an accountant, could be a profile of a lawyer, could be a profile of a mechanic, could be a profile of a teacher, surprisingly enough, could be a profile of the programmer. That person came to me telling me that they are very good at photography, and I asked them, what makes you enjoy photography? Why does it work for you so well? And the person told me that they are really curious about the technical aspect of taking a photo, of setting up the camera, like making sure that everything is set up perfectly, the correct angle of the sun that's striking certain and making like some sparkle somewhere. So they described to me very technically the process of taking a photograph, which for me was a sign that this person obviously have a technical skill, even though photography is considered to be a creative profession. So we discussed a little bit more, and we figured out that actually the person never thought about it before, ever in their life, but they felt a curiosity to try programming. And I suggested, why don't you just take a course? You don't have to go and take a bachelor degree in programming. You don't have to do that. Watch a long YouTube video about programming. Read an article about different programming languages. Follow your nudge of this curiosity. And the person followed their nudge, took a course. After that, they took a very long course of, I think, like half a year or 1 year course with a certification. And during the process of the course, they developed their portfolio. And the person told me that they're actually planning to have a career in programming, like complete 180 from what
Wow.
they were doing before. And look how from photography, the person was able to go to programming because we could see the link of this technical nudge, this inclination to be very technical in their photography. So shifting from a creative career to technical career, 100% possible, the same way as from technical career to creative career. Our talents never define us as creative or technical. It's all human language. This dichotomy, yes or no, these binary answers, yes or no, I'm this or that, I'm introverted or extroverted. These are all human kind of constructs that we created to simplify the world. But we are not simple personalities. We are multifaceted. And we need to look at each talent, each ability as multifaceted as well. I can turn around and flip around my talent so that it would fit here, it would fit there, here, here. And the way to find the path among all of these possibilities is actually to combine all of my interests together. That is the ultimate path to a life purpose. And this is what I ultimately do with my customers that are interested in finding the career that is not only successful, but actually fulfilling. To be successful means to do something very well, to be recognized for it, to be reimbursed, paid very well. But to be fulfilled is to feel the satisfaction from what you're doing and to feel the satisfaction from your growth and progress. So combining the two is not an easy task, but you can step from one to the other by adding together many different interests that you have. And the biggest and fun, in my opinion, challenges actually is to put together the seemingly separated and not connected interests. Like a person could be interested in farming, gardening, and singing and day trading. Like it's
Wow.
something like
Okay.
completely weird, even though you cannot combine farming, day trading, and singing in one profession yet, not that I know of. Maybe ChatGPT can have some suggestions. But interest in all three domains would indicate for me a talent. And because a talent is multifaceted, I can flip it around and say, because you're good at singing, you're also good at delivering a speech or presentation. And if you're good at gardening, if you're good at growing plants, you probably have good empathy because you can empathize with plants. You like them very much. You like nature. Because you have very good empathy, you can deliver a good speech, and you like money, you can deliver a training on how to become a day trader for people, and you will empathize with the audience and you will deliver them a perfect training. So it's very fun. It's very fun and
I
creative
love
way.
that. It's, oh my goodness. I mean, just listening to this one example that you gave, this, person who could be interested in all of these three things, farming, day trading, and singing, and how that's all interconnected, and how each, of those characteristics that are so intrinsic to, let's say, someone who enjoys farming, being empathy, and how that empathy can then also translate so well as a day trader, because then you empathize with the people, the clients you're working with, because it's their money at the end of the day. And while there's so many other traders out there, you obviously will bring a little bit of an extra a characteristic that kind of makes you more enduring, and the relationship rather that you would have with your clients would be a little bit lot more long term, as opposed to let's make quick money and go. I mean, I'm just saying that from the long term perspective of growth and success and having a thriving business as a trader, then there you go. The empathy part really comes in very clearly. And so while I was saying that, it seems like there is a connection, of course, but I still feel, Marina, that navigating between these career choices can be hard for a young adult. And even though we have opportunities that exist, like we just discussed at the beginning of this conversation, then there's a lot of opportunities for people today to choose from. It's no more the three things: medicine or engineering or IT or any of those. So how can a student who probably is still feeling overwhelmed by all of these choices deal with figuring out what his actual options should be? Let's say he's thinking of 4 or 5 different options and he's overwhelmed. So now, how does this person, or what kind of strategies or tools would you offer to somebody like that to break it down?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love the practical aspect of it because, of course, we can talk about the theory and how great everything is. We all understand that, right? However, as you say, okay, practically, how do we do that? And every single time I work with a client with career coaching, I say we start with identifying your talents, meaning we take a profiling. There are different types of profiling tools out there. And I must admit that some of them are less informational than others. Some of them are extremely theoretical, some of them are a bit more practical. And I've been in this sphere for over 10 years. I started myself in my early career days. I started myself identifying what can I do, and I took numerous amount of different tests. Some of them were better than others, but I never actually got a full, complete analysis of myself. So what am I supposed to do? So I would say that as a young adult, just take everything that is available to you. Try to Google online what are the talent profiling tools out there, which are the most interesting, respectable. Of course, StrengthsFinder, that's one of the most popular ones. Take that. I would suggest people to take Enneagram test as well. You can also do Myers-Briggs, but it's been quite heavily criticized in the latest years that it's very skewed. Putting all of this profiling together will give you more and more full picture about yourself. Of course, none of the tools will give you a complete 100% 360 of yourself, right? So you start from taking some of the profiling. After that, you will understand a few directions for yourself. Now, the choice of the career is coming, right? How do you choose the exact career that you want to choose from? Here, I would say, again, referencing back to my previous answer, it does not really matter what you choose in the beginning because your choice is very unlikely going to be the last choice of your life. Long gone are the days when you choose a career once and for all in your life. It was possible 60, 70 years ago when there were 3 corporations on the market and everyone worked for Ford. Or some other big company. We don't do that anymore. And no one is sticking in their career actually for more than 5 years right now. 3-5 years, that's the average. You stick to one company. And that's very common right now to change a career, to pivot, as they say. Why? Because of the technology. So it's very likely that the career you choose for the first 2, 3, 5 years, it's going to be just the first career step in your life. So don't be so worried that you're going to choose the wrong thing. As long Again, referencing to my previous answer, as long as you're choosing your first career based on your curiosity, your interest, your intrinsic motivation to learn about it, you will take the first step. After several years, there will be a time when you have to choose a career. Again, maybe new technology emerges, maybe your employer, for some reason, is not satisfying you anymore, you want to choose next. Then you take the same step again, but the spiral is moving upwards, you're growing. So on the next circle of the spiral, you will ask yourself again, okay, what else am I interested in? And you will build up on the first interest. You have learned already something about it, you gain experience. You choose a second time. Now you're even closer to yourself. If you choose a third time, even closer. So with every single choice, you are expected to come closer and closer and closer and closer to you. Now, it's very common these days already, and it will be even more common within 10, 20 years. So young adults right now, when they reach their maturity, early 30s, it's very normal to have several jobs at the same time because the jobs are becoming more and more specialized. That's the trend right now. It cannot satisfy your personality completely. One job is not enough to keep you fulfilled. That's why people have hobbies right now on the side that they put a lot of effort into. You can find a lot of programmers right now that on the side are cyclists or marathon runners or bakers or anything else. Like people choose another career as a very heavy hobby because they cannot get fulfilled completely in their career because it's so niche and so specialized. So don't be afraid in the future to take on a hobby that you're very interested in. And at first, you will not get paid for it, but with time, you can turn it into a side hustle. And then you will have your day career. If you wish, you can also do it part-time as well. And on the side, you will have a hobby that you can potentially grow into a second career side hustle, and you can combine. In general, the trends for the future are showing that people will start mixing and matching more because the jobs are allowing us more flexibility. We can work from home now. We can have a few careers. Also, because one career right now is not enough to pay for a household. So on average, like 50 years ago, only one person in a household needed to have a job to have a house, family, children. Right now, even 2 jobs in a household is not enough, meaning that each adult is expected to have more than one income already now. And this is for millennials. All the younger generations would have to hustle even more. To summarize everything that I said, my answer finally, practical steps on finding the fulfilling career is just do it. Just go, just try,
Yep.
but always keep in check your intuition, how you feel inside about it. I really love this example of people who are earning really good money on gaming. I love this example because these were kids that loved playing computer games and they turned it into an income stream. It's incredible. It's
Phenomenal.
really incredible
Right?
because it tells that you can actually earn money literally on every activity. So don't be afraid to do what you love, because if
Yeah.
you're doing what you love really well, you will get paid eventually. Look online on YouTube. There are people who are meditating, recording themselves. 3 hour meditation, the person just records themselves, they get money for that. The person, what is happening? The person is sitting in front of the camera, no action, nothing, and they get paid for that. It's really the best time to be alive on planet Earth, in my
I
opinion, as
agree.
well. I want to second that because right now the possibilities are incredible. And I really want to give from all today's conversation, I can get across only one message to young
Yep.
adults. Please don't get stuck in the mindset that career is for money. Please
No.
don't go after money. Please don't do that, because you will lock yourself into a place that will probably likely not make you happy down the line.
Yeah.
Because money, this is not the reason. Money will come. If you do something you do really well, if you love it, if you enjoy it, if you're really good, money will find you always, because people always want to pay for something that is really good. But if you're chasing the money, if you're chasing big money, you will force yourself to become better and better. And how can you force yourself to be better at something that you don't like? Maybe you're not even good at it from the beginning. That was my case with law. I chased the money, I chased the status, I chased my parents' preferences. I was not good as a lawyer. I couldn't do that. And even though I have immense respect and love for this field, I still love it, I still enjoy it. I just can't be good at that. And I had to let it go. And I wish less and less young people will chase someone else's dream, because down the line, you will switch. You will have to pivot for yourself, for your own health, for your own happiness, for your own progress and growth. Don't chase the money, chase your curiosity.